and welcome to a new episode of the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition's Small Business Forum. I'm your host, David Dadekian, a small business owner here in Rhode Island. I own Eat Drink RI. And with us this week is a candidate for Lieutenant Governor. The elections are coming up very soon. Welcome to Cindy Coyne.
Thank you. Thank you so much, David, for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, it's our pleasure. We really appreciate talking to all the candidates and finding out their positions on things specific to small business. So, why don't you start off by telling our listeners and our viewers a little bit about yourself and your background.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I have made my entire career in public service. I first worked for the state police. Uh, I achieved the rank of lieutenant, serving 20 years on the state police, and then I served 4 years on the Barrington Town Council, and then 8 years in the state Senate, where I was on the Judiciary Committee and the Environment Committee, and Health and Human Services for 2 years. And I was also the chair of the Judiciary Committee for my last 2 years in service there.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Yes, we
Yes.
appreciate it. Thank you for being such a great public servant. I know it's a lot of time and energy to work with the public. So thank you very much for that. So tell us, with that background, with that history, and with your experience with the General Assembly, why Lieutenant Governor?
So I want to bring my experience, my institutional knowledge and skill set to the office of Lieutenant Governor. I'm the only Democrat running for Lieutenant Governor that has served in the General Assembly. With the Lieutenant Governor's office, as you know, you cannot govern by executive order. You can only govern by using it as a pulpit or by pushing your initiatives to get passed through the General Assembly. And I know how to be able to get that accomplished. I understand how to be able to take something from words on a piece of paper to the governor's office for his or her signature.
Great, thank you. Yes, as part of the Small Business Coalition, small business is one of the focuses of the Lieutenant Governor. We've had the opportunity to work over the last 10 years, almost. Well, not that quite that long, but with the last two Lieutenant Governors, the one now Governor,
Mhm.
and yes, you're right. Legislation is a key part of what how that works, along with the bully pulpit, as you mentioned. So that's a really appreciate your experience there and your knowledge with working with the General Assembly because
And
it can be
and
an interesting process.
And while I was there at the General Assembly, there were a few things that I was able to accomplish. I've always supported small businesses. I'm looking forward to chairing the Small Business Advocacy Council. As our small business rankings by CNBC and Wallet Hub have really gone from in 2024 a ranking of 44, 2025 to 46, and now 48 in the United States.
Yeah.
And so we are in last place in the continental USA. And I want to do something more to improve our national business rankings. And I really look forward to discussing that with everyone around the table and talk about their concerns going forward.
Yeah. So, are there particular things you see with small businesses that you've heard from constituents or potential constituents in regards to what you can do there as Lieutenant Governor?
Right. So I understand that access to capital is always a
Yep.
struggle for our small businesses. When I was out and about talking to constituents, I was talking to one woman who said that the state of Rhode Island does a great job with their mentoring program to get small businesses off the ground for the first 3 years, but that mentorship kind of wanes from year three and beyond. And most businesses make their mark within the first 5 years as to whether or not they succeed or fail. I would like to see that mentorship program extended beyond 3 years, maybe through year five. I understand, and I was supportive of the millionaire's tax, but at the same time, I'd like to see some of that returned back to the small businesses. And if that means putting some of that back into the mentorship for our small businesses, then I think that we should go ahead and see that they receive some of that support.
It's a common theme with a lot of our small business areas is good initial support, good getting off the ground support, and then a lot of as understandably with Commerce Department, a lot of good support for bigger businesses,
Mhm.
larger corporations. But that in between is definitely a area that sometimes people fall through the unfortunately fall through the cracks of sizing up. So that's a very interesting and important position for you to take. Thank you. I, many other things that the small business community is concerned about right now, number one has to be energy. I don't
Yes.
have any views there. Any thoughts on what can be done with, especially the electric rates and other generative costs and distribution costs?
Right. So we are charged a gross earnings tax, for us out there. So we're taxed on our energy use and electricity and gas. I'd like to see that we do away with that gross earnings tax. I think that would be a huge benefit to the ratepayers.
Okay.
Uh, that is something that we can fix right away. I know the General Assembly had put a pause on that for a short period of time in late December 2023 into March of 2024. There's no reason why we couldn't do that again, and that could save our ratepayers some significant amount of money.
Excellent. Nice idea.
Hmm.
Um, and then the other major issue along the same lines, it's a little different, but housing. Housing has been a concern, especially with hiring and small businesses finding people to work for them because many small businesses are just a few employees, and when you can't even find that few employees, it really is critical. What do you see with the housing? And I know it's been a it had been a big, project for the former, well, now former Speaker Shikarchi. I don't know when you were in the General Assembly, was it an issue as well, or is it something you've
Well,
looked at now?
I served in the General Assembly till 2022, and we were working on the housing issue then. But there's been a lot that has happened since
Yeah,
2022 and beyond up until this. There's 40 or 50 bills that have gone through. It takes time for these to go to work. We need, a skilled workforce. Some of our problem is not having enough people do the jobs and training. We need to continue with our training of our workforce, but also, just the cost of building itself. So I think it's going to take time to be able to put these pieces of legislation into work. And I know the General Assembly has done a very good job of trying to do something to fix our housing issue. I would love to see, I don't know if we have a database, and if we don't, it's something I certainly would like to look into, for properties that need to be rehabbed or available properties, that are for sale that really could be used or repurposed for housing. That would be wonderful. So there's a lot of work, a lot of people working to make things better in our housing industry. And I
And I
certainly
certainly
would be
would be
willing
willing
to
to
sit
sit
around the
around the
table and
table and
discuss that
discuss that
more.
more.
excellent. Do you know I forget overlapping of times in years with the General Assembly. Did you work with Senate President Val Lawson when you were there, or?
Yes,
Yes,
as a matter
as
of
a matter of
fact,
fact,
I'm getting
I'm getting
feedback.
feedback.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is everything okay?
As a matter of fact, that's better, thank you. As a matter of fact, Senate President Val Lawson and I worked on and co-sponsored a piece of legislation for small businesses to help direct tourism promotion and economic development in East Providence. There are several other things that we worked on together as well, and I enjoyed our partnership.
That's great to hear. Thank you. It's always important to have that relationship. So one of the other things that we've looked at as small business owners here in Rhode Island is infrastructure. Not exactly the most exciting
Mm.
topic, but it is definitely something that affects a lot of small businesses there. We don't need to go down the path of the Washington Bridge. That is a well-known story to many. But your thoughts on our infrastructure and growth in that area?
Well, thank you for bringing that up because when you mentioned the Washington Bridge, our concerns of a small business, when we talk about uh, man-made disasters versus natural disasters. One of the roles of the Lieutenant Governor is to chair the Emergency Management Advisory Council, which also, um, brings a piece of the small business industry into focus. We understand that, our data shows that 40% of small businesses fail when there is a natural or man-made disaster. We talk about the Washington Bridge, and our small businesses on both sides of the bridge, Providence and East Providence, really, really struggled an awful lot. So I think it's really important when we talk about emergency management and infrastructure and having a program to maintain, our bridge and roads are vital to our economy here in Rhode Island. I mean, 98% of our businesses are small businesses. I understand that SBA categorizes that as 499 or below, but many of our businesses, as you know, are micro businesses, which are 10 employees or less. So we want to make sure that we have the support in place, as one who chairs the Emergency Management Advisory Council. It's very, very important for me, not only to talk about infrastructure, but also resilience planning too. Because when we talk about hurricanes and blizzards like the 2026, we need to make sure that our coastline is protected. We have all those businesses in Newport and along our coastlines in East Greenwich and even in Barrington, Bristol, and Warren, that we need to make sure that we have the funding available for our municipalities so that they continue with resilient roadie and resilient planning, and that they have the funding available to them so that they can protect their coastlines with, rising waters and, any, natural disasters like a hurricane.
Yeah, Warren has a plan in place to basically move businesses from the waterfront inland a bit. I know that hasn't
Mhm.
really done a whole lot so far. A lot of that due to funding. There hasn't been federal funding at this point, but I mean it all connects to climate and that again emergency issues, things of that nature. Being in the East Bay, there, what do you have you talked to business owners about this type of things? Have you seen that firsthand yet? Or I know we've all experienced the blizzard, like you mentioned, and things of that nature, but I didn't know any further experience there.
Yes, and
Yes, and
even along the East Bay, we have, when there's a king tide, there's one that's coming tomorrow. We have local roads that flood. People can't get through. It is a concern, and I know Barrington has done a really good job with resilience planning. We pride ourselves in that. And I know Warren is doing an excellent job, and even Bristol has um, some projects in the works for protecting, their coastline and their roads going forward. So I know that we have a green bond coming in November, and a portion of that will be used, to go towards resilience planning.
Yeah, absolutely. The green bond will be up again. Thank you for pointing that out. I didn't mention it at the head of the show, but we'll definitely mention it now and post it down below with all your links, things of that nature
Mhm.
when this gets posted. But Wednesday, September 9th is the key date for the primary, folks. If you haven't put that on your calendar, make sure you do. Wednesday, September 9th. Hope you registered to vote. Hit vote.ri vote.sos.ri.gov or vote.ri.gov. Either way, we'll link it up down below and make sure you hit all that. I did want to touch on your background with the state police.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that work you did and how was there any sort of interaction with small business things of that nature?
Occasionally, there were anyone from the state of Rhode Island can call the state police for any issues that they had or are having. Um, it's interesting because when I started with the state police, I started in uniform, and then along the way, I participated, or I was a detective for quite a number of years, and I was in the financial crime unit for a number of years, where there were a lot of small businesses and banks and what have you that would call on the financial crimes unit in the state police to help them, and that's where um, my interaction with businesses would most likely happen, unless there was, a robbery or something at a small business. But in the end, during my last couple of years on the state police, I was the accreditation manager, and that's kind of where I got the bug for policy. Is developing best practices and good policies, good procedures that allowed our state police to be validated by an outside agency to show that we were using the best practices going forward. And so, I was proud to be a part of that accreditation process and reaccreditation process on the state police. And if I hadn't have been an accreditation manager, I don't know if I would be here today because I wanted to continue my public service in the area of policy. And so when I was trying to decide how am I going to be able to make a positive difference and do something more, in the area of public service and be able to combine policy and public service, it was my experience as accreditation manager that really kind of led me on the path that I am today. And so I'm really excited that, you know, um, that's where it organically started, is on the state police to where I am today. So it's pretty exciting because I would have never expected that I would be an elected official at this time, never mind town council and state senate, and now lieutenant governor. Because, in my honest opinion, when it comes to emergency management issues, when it comes to long term care, which we didn't even touch upon, you chair the Long Term Care Coordinated Council, and then our small business and trying to improve our small business national rankings. It's in my wheelhouse, and I'm really excited about the opportunity to continue to make a positive difference for our state as your next lieutenant governor.
Thank you. Yeah, that is on my list. I know I saw caregivers and things of that nature on your
It's
website. So I did
it's
want to talk
very
about that
important.
before we go. Yeah, tell us a little bit about your history there, and because a lot of small businesses, there's paid time off issues. There's employees having to take care of elderly and children, of course, obviously,
Mhm.
childcare as well. But yeah, your thoughts there?
Thank you for asking that question. It's passionate about older adult issues, are very passionate uh, subject for me. My dad had Alzheimer's. He suffered from that, and I saw my mom take care of him for a good number of years before we were faced with having to make that decision to put him in a nursing home. And so I've been dealing with these issues now for a good 15, 20 years. My husband's parents were a generation older than my own. So I understand the whole process of long-term care. Now, going through the General Assembly this past year and for a number of years, there's been a push for a family caregiver state tax credit, which I think is so important because people don't realize. And it's very quiet when people take care of their loved ones. They're doing it because they love uh, their their loved ones, and they struggle with being able to make that decision whether or not they can afford to put them in assisted living or nursing home. And so they don't talk about it. And I would love to make sure that our family caregivers are recognized, that they have the resources, the tools they need, and they should be given, some credit for the care that they're giving their loved ones. Do you know that approximately caregivers spend approximately $7,200 a year out of pocket to take care of their loved ones?
Wow. Yeah.
Yes, and 1 out of 4 adults are a family caregiver. They take the burden off our healthcare system, and that's very important because, as you know, we're struggling right now um, with not enough primary care physicians to go around. We have so many people at home taking care of um, of those who could easily be in a nursing home or an assisted living facility. We need to make sure that our family caregivers have the resources and the tools that they need.
Well, thank you for that. Clearly, something you're passionate about, and I appreciate that.
I
This
am, and when I was in the Senate, I also chaired, this is where my public safety and my passion for our older adults crossed paths. I chaired an elder abuse and financial exploitation task force. And we worked for about a year with a bunch of stakeholders, a whole bunch of stakeholders, and people who were experts in that field. And we were able to develop 5 or 6 good pieces of policy to help in the area of public safety when it came to older adults and elder abuse and financial exploitation. So we have some good guardrails in place to help our older folks when it comes to financial exploitation.
Well, that's fantastic to hear. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. We all
Sure.
we all should acknowledge we're all getting older, so it's all
Hmm.
going to affect us all eventually. So thank you for that. This has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you very much, Cindy, for your time. We appreciate it. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you want to talk about before we go?
Well, I just want to um, just reiterate again that I couldn't get to the point that at now without having put in the number of years that I have. You know, between my 30 years of public service, the institutional knowledge that I have from being a member of the General Assembly proudly, and my skill set that I have, I'm it's all about experience and tested leadership. And I think when people are looking at the candidates, that needs to be a serious consideration going forward. I'd love to be able to continue my public service in the office of Lieutenant Governor, and I appreciate the opportunity you've given me today to share a little bit about my experience going forward.
Well, it's been our pleasure. Thank you very much for your time. Again, good luck with your primary on September 9th. Make sure
Thank
you get out
you.
there and vote, folks. Cindy Coyne for Lieutenant Governor on the Democratic ticket. So make sure you get out there on September 9th. Cindy, thanks very much for your time. Take care.
Thank you so much, David. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And thank you as always for watching. We really appreciate it. You're on YouTube, a like, subscribe, all those things you're supposed to do down there. If you're on your podcast platform listening to this, please drop us a review, 5 stars, whatever you got there. And appreciate that. Until next time, take care.